Rasmus Hojlund is in firing form for Manchester United right now, and we're going to be taking a look at one development that he's made in recent months to really improve his game in the Premier League. Now, of course, that goal after around 40 seconds at Kenilworth Road made sure that Rasmus Hojlund became the youngest ever Premier League player to score in 6 consecutive games, and he deserves it after a really difficult period at the start of his United career, where of course he went 14 games without a goal. And he's even spoken about how difficult that change into the Premier League has been for him. I think it is a little bit faster to what I was used to in the Italian league. I think you need to be a split second faster, need to get used to that. Both physically and mentally, you need to be ready before you get the ball. Now, of course, this is a really interesting quote from Holand, because there were times where, like he said, it was that kind of split second difference between him getting on the end of the cross and not. And there were various different reasons for that, but we'll take a look into some of those missed chances that, like Holand said, he was just a split second away from. So first of all, this one against Sheffield United, you see that the ball's been played over to Rashford on the left, and he's played that quick ball across goal. And Holand is right there, very close to getting a touch, but he doesn't get a touch on there. And then a very, very similar one against Burnley here, where you see that Hoyland's on the shoulder of the defender. He makes the move across goal when Dallow's shaping up to cross. And again, he's very close to that. And there's a couple other examples of this across the season, but Hoyland has seemed to move away from this one style where he seemed to almost want to battle with centre-backs, wrestle with them, try and kind of win that battle. And I think it affected these kind of situations alongside some other ones. You see, he makes his movement with this Burnley chance, but it's just a split second too late, like he says. He kind of had to get used to knowing when to make these movements, and I think his goal against Wolves is a really good example of that kind of small change ending in a goal instead of a missed chance. You can see here that he's still doing that kind of wrestling style with the defender, trying to put him off, trying to create space, but if you look at where he creates that separation, it's way before the crosses even come in. It's actually with Rashford still with the ball before he plays it to Shaw on the overlap. And then that means that he can actually get into that space right across the front post to bundle it into the back of the net, rather than just miss it because he's still kind of wrestling with that defender for an extra second or so. I think that kind of difference was shown in this goal and in a lot of his box movements as well in recent weeks. You see that I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of these goals in recent weeks have come through Hoyland finding space in the box. I was actually looking at quite a lot of corners from earlier games in the season, and a lot of them Hoyland was kind of right up against either the keeper, one of the defenders near the keeper, not really seeming to try and find that space in and around the box. And you just see here, both of the goals against Aston Villa, you see this first one where this was actually supposedly a corner routine that United had worked on beforehand, but Hoyland avoided McGinn, found space and was able to put it in first time. The other game against Villa, his first goal in the Premier League, he's the first to react to that second ball, and it's because he's found that little gap of space. You see it right in and amongst all the Villa players. The ball bounces, and of course it's a little bit of luck which has been coming his way as well for the ball to find him there, but he's in the right space, and you kind of create your own luck when you're doing that. So there's 2 big examples, and of course against Luton for his second goal, he said he meant it, and I kind of trust him with it, to be honest, with the way that he kind of moved his shoulder. But look at it where he is. He's kind of making his own luck in that situation because he's found a really nice bit of space in between those 2 defenders, still onside. And I think this is kind of a knock-on effect of him not kind of looking for those wrestling matches anymore. But it's not only through his goals that it's benefiting him, but also in his all-round play. I think Hoyland's a lot better on the ball than a lot of people realised when he first joined. He's got a great pass, and I think he's shown it in various occasions in recent weeks, and it all comes from him picking the ball up in like little pockets of space rather than trying to kind of fight off defenders, which also he hasn't given up that because that is still a much needed role of the striker, but he's just mixing it up a little bit more to try and get in games, kind of get touches, impact the game elsewhere, and it's helping his all-round game. So if we just look at this Wolves pass, this is an amazing pass that he made, which should have gave United a third goal and probably made it a lot less stressful at the end of the game. But you see, he's popped up in this pocket just as United win the ball back. He's not right up against the defender, and he's looking behind to see how much space he's got to turn and run into. Of course, he moves, he attacks that defender, but also his dribbling ability. We kind of get to see it when he pops up in areas like this, where he can actually take on those two men and find the pass, which I don't think a lot of United players would be able to find so kind of accurately. And he releases Bruno Fernandes in there, and you just see that needs to end in a goal with Fernandes playing across to Garnacho. But the point stands, these kind of passes that Hojlund's making and kind of impacting the game elsewhere, it's from him feeling the league a little bit more and noticing when he needs to kind of go up against defenders, when he can afford to drop into space. And because he's so athletic, he can really do both jobs at once, because United have always had a problem in recent years where maybe Ronaldo or Martial would be looking to do exactly what Hojlund does there and kind of impact the game through their passing game, dropping deep. But the thing is, Hojlund right now has the athleticism to do the other job as well, do the pressing up front, do the kind of operating in the box, bullying defenders, but also finding those gaps and spaces in a centre-forward zone. And just another example, just to kind of back up the point, is this other pass against West Ham where you see Hojlund doing the exact same thing. He's dropping a lot deeper than usual. He's looking and kind of assessing his position, where the opposition players are, and it allows him to kind of turn the ball. And when you do have other players like Rashford and Garnacho running off you into those spaces which you vacate, it makes it so that Hojlund can find those passes, and he's got a really good pass on him to allow him to do these things. So I think that's another kind of positive of Hojlund getting used to this league and getting used to kind of when and when not to go up against the defenders, make it a battle, find spaces. It's just really all coming together for him in terms of the basics, and then a byproduct of that is the goals. It's the confidence to be able to smash that ball into the top of the net against Spurs. It's the confidence to do the little scoop turn in this West Ham game and smash it in with his weak foot. And the kind of determination which he's shown, which was in the first goal against Luton, where he doesn't give up, he runs, he makes that chance his own. You could call it luck, it's also determination. I think it all is coming together for Hojlund, but I think a big part of it is those kind of basic movements which he's making, where he's doing what he knows. He's finding space inside of the box rather than kind of looking for those battles as much. And he's still missing a couple of chances. He's not getting many. For example, against Luton, he had the chance to get his hat-trick, but he's not going to be able to finish every shot, especially when we're still creating limited chances for him. But he's getting in a lot of good areas. And it's really good to see in Hojlund's game that there are these developments happening, because there's still a lot to improve for him. But there's a lot there already as well. And then you see a third example here where it's more advanced in the box, but it's kind of the same principles which I've been speaking about. Hojlund doesn't actually want to battle that defender as much as he might have wanted to a couple of months ago, but he actually does a little turn, creates the space for himself, and sets Rashford up for the goal, which he gets an assist for. And it's just little things like that. Obviously, that one is a lot closer to the goal, not as much of a creative pass, but it's all coming from him not actually looking for those battles as much and utilising his strengths. He knows that he can get that space from the defender by doing that turn, by kind of being a bit sharper. He's looking for his own spaces more rather than creating those battles with defenders. And I think that is what is helping him tenfold. Hojlund has all the attributes to eventually become kind of an absolute duel winner against those centre-backs. And he's shown it in periods during his United career. But I think the amount of football that he's playing at such a young age, alongside the fact that it's his first kind of year in the Premier League, he's not going to be able to do that week in, week out. And so he's got to look to maximise his main strengths, which are his pace, which are his passing ability when he gets in those pockets, and then ultimately his way to sniff in chances in and around the box, which he's doing a lot more now because he's finding those spaces rather than kind of looking for those battles. And of course, I don't think it is as simple as that, because the wingers have changed. Garnacho is obviously really good on the right at the moment and displaced Anthony. I think the midfield, Kobbie Mainoo coming in, has helped, even though there is still not that control that United would like, and there's still a lot of problems in the team. And of course there is an element of luck, like there is for any striker, but I think Hojlund's luck has come a lot through his determination and hard work, alongside kind of him just doing those basics properly, and it all kind of falls in place together. I'm really looking forward to see what else Hojlund can bring to his game, because at 21, and only just 21, he's already got so many exciting attributes to build from as he gets older, as this team hopefully gets better. But that is all from me. I think Hojlund deserves a lot of credit for these kind of developments he's made, and he's getting his reward now with these goals. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave me a comment and let me know what you think of Hojlund's form right now. I'll see you in the next one.